Yeah, I think we should be good to go in a minute. Give me a sec. All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Ashok. I'm a mentor with DataMites. And today we are here to congratulate Clive for his success in getting into a data science role, as well as know from his experience. Clive, welcome to the session.
Thank you.
Start with congratulations. You made it. Very happy for you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we'll start with your, your profile and just give a quick introduction of yours, please.
Okay, so basically, I am from a BCom background. So, like at first, I was trying to get into chartered accountancy, but that didn't happen. So, I later found out about data analytics. So, when I was doing that, I came across DataMites and I came to know about data science. And that is where my interest grew because data science is more of like very logically apply your knowledge according to the logic. So, that is where it got my interest. So that is when I started going forward with it.
Okay, wonderful. When did you start this training? When did you start your journey, I would say?
Oh, okay. So I basically started my journey somewhere around April 2021. So I was from April 5th batch in 2021. And I recently came across that data mine that started online classes. So that will help me a lot because it was during COVID times and it was not possible for me to come to Bangalore or so on. So that is where I joined the course.
Okay, 21 September.
No, April.
April. So, all right. So it was, it was quite more than a year, nearly. All right.
Like between I had a small gap. I was not continuous in the classes. Like
Okay.
so you can consider like somewhere in October I started studying where I submitted projects. That is when I started attending the course properly.
All right. Okay. So you took a break and
Yes, yes.
restarted the. Okay, wonderful. So, what was your total duration of the course, along with the break? How many months you have attended, including your projects and mentoring and everything?
Okay, so I started studying because of online recordings available. I started studying somewhere in October, and by December I started working on my projects.
Okay.
So after that, I submitted one of my project. Then I was eligible for the job ready assessments. Like I submitted two projects after that.
Okay.
So I approximately took like nearly 5 to 6 months, the whole duration, including the project, the interviews process, and everything.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. So yeah, it's close to 6 to 7 months, including.
Yes, yes,
Isn't it? All right.
close to that. Yeah,
Okay. You're from BCom, commerce background, isn't it?
commerce background. Yes.
Which topic? I mean, data science has, of course, Python, statistics, machine learning, etc. Which topic you found difficult when in the initial stages of your learning?
Okay, it was more about like see, stats was not an issue because I had studied stats from before. It's in the commerce syllabus always.
Right.
So when I first started, I had problem with Python. So it was like I had no prior experience of coding. There's no experience at all. So at first I found Python a little difficult because I was not efficient enough to work on anything like creating functions and so on. So, but here it was taught from the start and the basics, so it helped me understand a lot easier, and it became very easy later on. Man, it obviously requires practice because if you're not from a background, you need a lot of practice.
Okay. How long you took from your perspective, Python? How long you took?
Okay, so at first I was not concentrating so much on Python. Okay, so I was like I thought I knew everything, but later they had conducted a mock interview. So that is when I came to know like how much I know and how much I was being overconfident. So
Okay.
that is when I started sitting like for like 7-8 hours a day, and like I put that much effort in like only for a month or so, and that is when I became a little more efficient in Python. I started understanding better. Like if you'd ask me anything, I could work on it like that. Otherwise, I used to go to the internet, find out, make myself understand. So I used to take a lot of time before.
Okay, let me tell you, even people with 5, 6 years experience now still go to internet and Google about Python script. No one is writing scripts from scratch nowadays, to be honest.
Yes, true.
Yeah, very good. So, of course, you're from statistics background. How did you find machine learning from the beginning? How difficult, yeah, how much time you spent, how difficult what is for the early stages of learning?
Like I used to divide my week into different topics. Like I used to concentrate on Python for like 3 days a week, and rest of the days I used to go to the algorithms, understand the algorithms. So that is where I started working. Where I started working, then I used to like try to apply it on my project. So again, if the project I used to come back, if I wouldn't understand, I used to come back to the lessons, recorded lessons. I used to again see what is the. Then I used to make myself understand. Through that, I started understanding machine learning. So before that, at first it was like you can just code and work, but how does it work is very important now. Like if you don't know how it works, it'll be a little bit hard to understand what is the machine learning algorithm going to do to this data. So like by time like I understood, like okay, I understood what is the main logic behind it, and that is when I started liking and I started understanding machine learning. So I had to spend like at least 3 days a week on machine learning and 3 days on Python coding and other topics, etc.
Now, you're very disciplined. So you have schedules for different topics for different day. How many hours you spend per day?
Like I used to take a total study hour of 8 hours, but honestly speaking, in that 8 hours, I used to sit somewhere for between 5 to 6 hours. That's it. Like I take it 8 hours, and between the distraction and all those parts included, so I take 8 hours as a whole. Like at least I
Okay.
have to sit for so long. Then within that 8 hours, at least 5 to 6 hours, I used to sit and study like properly. That is what I used to do.
Okay, that's a huge chunk. 5 to 6 effective hours. Even if you're looking at the working employees, we say 8 hours, but hardly we do 3 to 4 hours, isn't it? So you have done a good job. So likewise, you've been spending for like 3, 4 months at least for grasping the initial concepts, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Weekends, I hope you're not studying. Did you also study in weekends?
No, no, not so much during the weekends. And like because I had to study because I had no prior knowledge. And if I was trying to get into this career transition, I had to know. And later, and what is the thing was many upcoming data science were coming. So it will be more challenging. So like I wanted to answer, like whenever I was asked questions, I thought that I should answer them at least something to know. So that is why I gave myself so much time. And I was stuck between the transition. So and I had a lot of gap also. So
Right.
like I graduated in 2018 BCom. So I had a long gap between that. So
Yeah.
like I started concentrating on this more.
2 years you can blame on COVID, isn't it? And rest,
Yeah,
rest you just need to justify.
that is the
Okay.
thing.
I I know most of the people when they study. I mean, even I'm like a last days batting guy. So when there's an exam, we study a lot, and rest of the year, not much. I mean, actually, literally, we don't study, isn't it? That's a
True,
common way
true,
we
true,
do our in India at least, right?
true, true.
Were you that kind of guy in college, or you were studying all the year, all the days in the college?
No, 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 no. I can't sit and study whole time. It's always during the last moment when the fear hits.
Yeah. Okay, you are in majority then. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
but when it comes to data science, it's more career oriented. You are motivated, and that made you to study discipline
Yes,
manner
true.
in 3 months. That's a
Yes.
point to be taken for the learning community. I see. Yeah, I have trained myself more than 15,000 people. The people who are successful, I can easily cross reference from my data. The one who studied consistently, all the like having a proper schedule and at least for 3 to 4 months, are the one who are successful in a big way in a short term. Rest of the people, yeah, they might actually transition to data science in year or year and off, land up in average jobs. But the one who are very successful, like Clive, he got his dream figure in job and a very good job. That's only because in the initial days of your study, it has to be in a disciplined manner and it has to be consistent. Definitely not the way we study in our colleges, including myself. I mean, I studied like any other majority people on the exam days. but that's not going to work for data science. Excellent. All right. So after you complete your concepts, Clive, how
Okay.
many projects you have done? Could you just give me a brief?
Okay, so like I had submitted 2 projects. Okay, so after that, I was eligible for job ready assessment. So that is when Farzana from the placement team, she contacted me like I'll be applying your resume for jobs and all that. So I started getting interview calls after that. So like I'm still in the process of submitting the rest of the projects. Like I've submitted 2 projects. After that, I got eligible and like I got the job after that.
Oh, you didn't complete the course yet. You got a job in between. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm still in the process applying for IBAC and all that thing.
Oh, you need to finish them as well. That's okay. But now that you get a job, don't look down on it. Right?
No,
Finish
no,
all
no,
of
no.
your
I need.
projects.
I have
You
to
still,
complete it.
yeah, wonderful. So yeah, that's good. So how many projects you have done in total? Like 30
Like
projects?
I've submitted only 2 projects, but I have completed all the projects by now.
Okay, the five
Only the
projects.
submit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I was in the process of doing that after I recorded some class. I've not yet submitted it. So I'm still in the process of doing that. I'm applying for IBAC also in the same thing.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right. So tell me about your initial experience with interviews. Is it a first interview you cracked, or is it what's the number? How many you failed? Did you fail?
I failed like nearly 4 to 5 interviews.
That's an average. That's good.
Okay, so like they were basically asking, like that was the process where I started studying more. Like first, I told you right, I was a little bit overconfident before the mock interviews and all that. So
Okay.
that is when I used to like they used to ask me questions I was not able to answer. Like what used to happen? Like I was not able to answer them in a technical way. Like I could just randomly answer something. So that was the major issue I had. So that is when I started going through the courses, understanding better, using better terms while explaining to them. So that is what I used to work on. So I failed, like I got through Arithar, then one, two, three companies, even Larsen and Tobo. So that is where like they were mostly asking questions I was not able to answer. Then I came through this company and like I was able to crack it.
Okay. Was it the interview easy, or you learned stuff which you did not learn before?
I had to like what used to happen like they were more like highest out of 5 companies, at least 3 of them, not the one which I joined now, at least 3 of them were mostly into machine learning, I mean artificial intelligence, computer vision, natural language processing. So I
Right.
saw that they were asking me more of those questions. So I started brushing myself into more of that, like knowing the concept like tokenization, stemming. It was already taught in our classes. So I enhanced myself in that. I started studying more and I was able to crack some of the questions. So that is how it worked later on.
Okay, good. So you already gave me some questions. I want to be more, because there are a lot of people watching this from multiple channels, right? So they'll be more interested to know specifically the interview process, how they start, what kind of questions they ask in the initial, what are the tough questions. Maybe specific, you can also, say the questions they ask. That would be more helpful. Like,
Okay, so first I got a phone call. So it was someone from the technical team itself. So we had a conversation over the phone. So he like I had submitted my projects through GitHub link. So I had submitted even that. So like he was going through my projects, like what I worked on, and all the projects which are provided by DataMites. End of the day. So I was he went through the projects and he saw what I worked on. So then he asked me questions based on that. Like, do I actually know it or did I just copy it? So just ask me some brief small questions. So then he started asking me about natural language processing, where like how to do automatic speech detection, what are the things. I was not able to answer some questions. So like he was also like, okay, some things can be learned later on. It's a process of doing that. So first, it was more of like the projects, what I had to explain to them. Then after that, it went towards natural language processing, and it was more of like they were explaining me what they wanted and like what knowledge I had already. Like they had given me list of libraries. They told me like, do you know Dockers? Do you know Python? Do you know this algorithms? Like depending on that, I had to just say yes or no. So whichever I knew, he used to ask me questions on that. So it was mostly because of all that. Then after that, I had the main interview after like 2 weeks. So like the first, it was like the company was explaining what the company is looking to do in the future. Like they are trying to get into AI and all those sort of things. So like I was asked the same question, like about the libraries, about the activation functions, when it came to logistic regression, because they are looking for time series and all those data. So it was most of like 90%, like not 90, around 70% of the questions were more into natural language processing, and rest was like normal machine learning algorithms and Python knowledge. And most importantly, it's like you should know to create a function. It's like it mostly worked on that. Like if they tell me to do something, I should try to do a function, like working function, which I can apply to any other this, the whole page or so, like that.
Okay, so that was the one which you just joined.
Yes,
right?
that was the one I joined. Yeah.
In the initial interviews, did you find any specific question which was tough to answer, which you struggled? Any particular questions like that?
It was not exactly like questions. Like, see, that's what I saw. Like activation functions. He asked me about activation, like which is where's the sigmoid function used. So I had to explain only one activation function. That is one thing. So, and after that, I was asked to about creating a function, a simple function like we input two. He just asked me a simple question, like where you input two numbers and we get an answer. So like how do you fetch that like input, like how do you do it, and all that and all. Then he asked me like which environment we use for IDE, we use for coding. So like it was mostly they were into VS Code and all that, and also they like I told us in Jupyter. So they asked me some things like how do you know how to save a model as py, like Jupyter always gives in IPYNB format, so they wanted raw format. How do you save it in a raw format? So that was one question they asked in a Jupyter notebook.
Okay, so essentially there is an option for it, and
Yeah.
it's also suggested. You got through it. I think the company are willing to train you a bit after that, and that's how most companies do. Even we do the same.
Yeah, that's true.
But to point to be taken here, it's always good to have one IDE. VS Code is popular, but you can also use Spider or you can use PyCharm. One of these IDE, it is not different from Jupyter. You can also run on a line wise. It just takes a day YouTube videos you can just search. And for other learning community, it's good to work with one IDE, even though most of the projects, I would say, even all the projects we do with our clients, with Fortune 100 companies, we simply use Jupyter. That's a standard mode of doing it. But having
Yes.
one IDE as a a bit of experience on it with a bit few shortcuts make you more productive. That's all. So that makes you. And also the question they were asking about, can you store in raw? Because when you trigger a script which runs your code, it has to be in a pure Python format. Jupyter doesn't work through a external trigger. It has to be opened in a Jupyter notebook and then you do it. So storing it, just click save as py file. That's all. And it goes into raw mode, which can be triggered from a command line or any cron jobs. Wonderful. All right. So just to summarize what Clive explained, they are most into understanding whether you know the basics, right? Have you done some projects, right? And are you clear about the fundamentals? That's all they're checking. And then they're quickly checking whether you are flexible, you have enough passion to learn new libraries, which they would be using in their projects. And are you comfortable quickly getting into it and doing it? So the learning coefficient is what most people are looking at, because data science has a lot of libraries. No one actually have to learn all of these things, but what you need to know is quickly get a hang of it by researching yourself and taking a help of your seniors. That's what they check. So Clive, any particular questions on statistics? You're strong in statistics. Have you faced any questions which are like frequently asked questions in statistics?
They have not asked anything in statistics at all. Like they didn't ask me anything about it.
Okay, maybe you sounded so strong in statistics. They wanted to try in some other areas. Okay.
Yeah, they didn't ask me at all.
Okay. Usually, a lot of companies ask statistics. Few questions at least. All right. Great. So, very good. So, have you referred any other? The interview part is very good. Thank you for that. Have you referred any other resources apart from the DataMites? Maybe you can also quote few of the DataMites. But have you also referred any other materials, channels which is helpful for you?
No, I was basically only through I used to only watch DataMites. I used to understand the concept, and to know more about it, I used to usually check the documentation, and they always had examples in them. So that is how I used to understand them. Like YouTube, only for some one project I used YouTube, like where they explain how it works. I was not correct of the concept, but it was just a random video where someone was explaining how to do it. That's it. So, and most of it, like materials, everything I referred, because we have provided with the PDFs and all the books and all that. So whatever I required was mostly found in that, like that. So most of it was through DataMites itself.
Okay, wonderful. Who is your mentor, may I ask? In
Hemant,
DataMites?
sir. Hemant,
Hemant.
sir.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, he is still with us, but as a consultant. But yeah, he was one of. So most of the our mentors are also you previously work with us in the projects with the clients. Um, Now the market is so great. No, we are not able to hold them in the projects. The same thing will happen to you. I mean, after 1 2 years, I mean, not that I am suggesting it, but it is like more than 80 90% are jumping jobs in a year. Hemant worked with us for 2 years as a AI data science consultant, and parallelly he was teaching. So one of the benefits I think you got from DataMites is that the people who practice, who deliver projects, also train. They are not academicians; they are more into project delivery. So that's a good
That's
thing.
true. He was very good in explaining the concept, and if you had any doubts, he would just make it very simple and he would make you easy to understand. That's the main thing. Like, it was very helpful because of him.
Okay, wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. All right. So anything else? So you don't have any other metal normally referred. You use DataMites for most of the things. Any
Yeah,
message?
everything was.
So there is also a concept. I mean, there is also I would say myth. Most people who talk to me, the aspirants, even in LinkedIn, I get. I think 60% of the questions I get in LinkedIn is mostly, "Hey, I'm not from IT background. I'm from mechanical or whatsoever non-IT background. Can I make it?" I normally say yes, you can, but they don't believe me. Right? What do you say? You're not from IT, are you? No, you're not. You're from
No, not at all. I'm from a
so,
commerce background. And upon that, I looked for a career transition outside. Like I was trying to do my master's. So like they had master MCA with data science, but I was not eligible because I had no science background or computer science background. So I was not eligible at all.
yeah, you're not
So
eligible for education, but you got a job. It's funny, isn't it?
yeah,
So you're doing a real stuff in that area.
that's
Very good.
true.
So, what's your perception? So, what do you think? Non-IT people getting into data science, how difficult it is, or what do you think about it?
It's not very hard. Like if you have enough practice, if you just practice and get the proper knowledge and understand, it's very easy to get. And Python, to be honest, is not as difficult when you compare to other programming languages. It's more of English and like if that, no that, that's something like that. So it was a little easier to get into data science because of Python. And once you know the concepts like algorithms, once you understand what it does, it's like you can crack anything. It's something like that.
Thank you, Clive. Just to add to it, this may not be the case 4 or 5 years down the line. Things might get tougher, but the reason
True.
the market is able to observe people with basic foundations and some exposure 3 4 months of doing projects is because the demand is so high, right? Anyone
True.
who can learn, have a good fundamentals, did some projects, learn about the concept of ML, are very valuable in the market. So as Clive said, it's easy to get into the market now with 6 months 4 months of hard work like 6 hours a day. I think the career potential data science has, putting 6 hours a day is nothing, isn't it? You study like,
True.
I don't know, 15 hours in a life to get a job from primary school. This is really an interesting times. Anyone from non-IT background or any background um, can get into data science if they have dedication. And I'm repeating it. This may not be the same. This may not stay same for next, I would say, 4 or 5 years. 2024, 25, there will be saturation, and then it might be slightly difficult to get in. But now it's really easy. I actually lost power. Give me a sec. I hope I'm still audible. Clive, can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you,
Okay.
sir.
All right. I can hear you as well. It's just that my okay. Now I got it. I have a huge screen and it requires a hell lot of power, so I haven't connected it to my battery. So
Okay.
I got it back. Okay, thank you. All right. So what's your final message? I think we have all. Thank you, Farzana. I must thank the DataMites Pat placements team that they're doing a fantastic job, headed by Farzana. is doing tremendous job. I see many young folks transition to data science. I'm particularly happy because I'm very passionate about teaching and helping people to get into data science. I only feel satisfied once you get a job. Otherwise it's half a job. It's half a job. You teach a lot of things to people, and they just learn and they do nothing with it. It's not a success. The success, from my perspective, for my own satisfaction, if people gets the job, they get into the data science career. So I thank Farzana and the DataMites placement team for giving that satisfaction, and of course Clive for your hard work. Not only you are happy, I'm very happy for you. All right.
Thank you so much.
Any final words from you for the learning community?
It's like if you're not from a computer science background, if you don't have knowledge, you need a lot of practice. That is one thing I can tell. You have to practice. Otherwise, it won't be possible, because even I was very overconfident, telling okay, I understood the concept, but it's not code and sit the whole time. But practice is required. Otherwise, you can't be fast enough to understand and work at the same time. So practice is required a lot.
Okay, so anyone can get into data science. Enough practice. When you say enough, 3 to 4 months of concepts and couple of months of project, you should be good enough, right? And
True.
It doesn't require any of the prior knowledge.
True. Yeah, 3 to 4 months are more than enough, because half of the concepts are ready in the internet. If you want to study more, you can find everything in the internet. It's already explained and ready for you. You just have to understand and practice it, apply those concepts in some project. That is when you can be more efficient.
About 3.5 million jobs, 3.2, I think more precisely, were left unfilled in 2021. And this is coming from many sources, including McKinsey, Forbes, and it is collected from various different regions. Asia Pacific contributed about 2 million jobs, 2.5 million jobs to it. So I'm not talking about number of jobs. I'm talking about the jobs which left unfilled because there is a huge lack of data science professionals in the market. And the trend is supposed to be continuing in 2022 as well. Nearly 3 to 4 million jobs are still going to be left vacant because we don't have enough people, right? So I suggest whoever is thinking still that should I get into data science or not, this is a moment for you. Take an example and inspiration from Clive. If you start now, you still have an year or year and off to keep. I mean, till the time the market will be still very observant. So I wish you all the best. I thank Clive for his time. I wish you all the best, Clive. As I always say, this is your starting point. You're not done, right? You have to finish your assignments. You have to submit everything. And next few years, whichever company you are, you keep on learning. So learning actually starts now for you, right? It's just that they're paying for your learning, which is good. A very good salary. but learning starts from now because it's an ever-changing field.
Where you actually apply all the concept and know what you know, like that.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
One thing I would like to say about DataMites is I liked it because there was continuous contact and interaction. Even though I had such a big gap, after that also it's continuous contact, helped me with job. I really like to thank DataMites for that. That it was very helpful. That's why.
I'm glad I'm associated with DataMites as well. I'm glad that you like, and I'm very happy for you. Thank you very much. I have questions from various sources. Let me see if I can pick some.
Okay.
Someone is asking session link. Okay. DataMites team, do you have questions in other channels like YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook, whatever channels you're streaming? Could you? Anyone who is in the call right now, please feel free to ask questions. I'll directly take it to Clive to get your answers. Yeah, so the session link will be shared back to you, the recorded session. This is also available in YouTube and other places because it's anyway live streamed. You can always go back and take it. Any questions from the audience? All the channels. I'm not logged into YouTube and others. I request DataMites team to log into other channels and see if there is any questions. I have two questions here. Jacqueline Mauniki. Thank you for hosting this session. I'm also an aspirant. I'm also in career transition. Such a helpful session. Glad that you liked. Um, I have a question from Abhishek saying, so were there only 2 rounds of interview? Is only 2 rounds of interview? Is that what you faced? Right?
Yes, sir. Like I had first a phone call over the phone. It was an interview. Like he was asking basic question like, do I have the knowledge about it? Just simple questions.
Mm-hmm.
And later when I had a second interview, it was a face-to-face interview online.
Mm-hmm.
So that took some time. So that is when I asked about the actual question. Like it was depending on what they are working on. It was, I told you, right? They are mostly into natural language processing, automatic speech recognition. And I didn't have any knowledge regarding it, but due to the tools what they use nowadays, it's very simple to understand. So that is what the training is going on for me now.
Okay, great. Okay, I close that question. I have a question from Ankita Das asking, knowing details of NLP is mandatory for cracking interviews? Well, for a particular interview, up to you, Clay, you can answer that. Knowing details of NLP, is it mandatory for cracking interview?
See, now that is depending company to company. So we can't be sure like what the company's requirements are. Like, see, like I got like out of 5 interviews, in 2 interviews, I was mostly into they are asking about analytics, time series. They asked me more questions regarding that. And rest of the companies are looking more into like NLP, like they want to automate systems, like automatically process speech and all that and all. So it depends on the company's requirements. So like that depends always on the company.
Right. So it depends on the company, but I can already tell you from my exposure and my interaction with the learning community and people who are transitioning, the demand for NLP is increasing, and you find more and more jobs are coming in NLP region. So even someone who is not, I mean, even the employer who wants to take you, they might ask you something in NLP because yeah, that's a very happening field as such. So knowing NLP is a good idea. I have questions coming from LinkedIn now, just now from Lovepreet Salan. Can you please tell me what kind of machine learning questions you got in interview? He already did answer. Do you want to add anything?
Like it was mostly like I was asked about regression, logistic regression, linear regression. It was just a basic concept. It was mostly I had told you that about activation functions, like just to check whether I have the knowledge or know about machine learning. But the thing what I'm seeing, it is not applied anywhere yet. So like they just ask simple questions. That's it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I have a question from Ravi Kumar, PT. Hey, Clay. Firstly, I would like to congratulate for your first
Thank
success.
you.
That's very nice way of putting it. So there are multiple successes for you. The question is, did they gave any assignment like programming to crack, or because I'm from non-tech? So
You
did you
like
give any programming to crack?
so in the interview, no, they didn't ask me anything regarding that. So like as I told you, I worked on like 5 projects what I took through DataMites. They basically referred that in the beginning and they asked me questions regarding that just to see I know the knowledge or no. So once they knew I know the knowledge, I can grasp the concept. They were more happy in that. Like because now like every company you join, it won't be like you know everything what the company needs. Like that is where you start training and learning over there. So just to see whether you're good enough in learning new concepts, how efficient are you? That is why they ask some similar questions like that. So I didn't have to crack anything. I told you one thing about functions because they were like here they want to create small function like text to speech summarization of that whole text. So it's all due to functions it works. So he asked me more of creating a function.
Okay, which is a very basic question, of course. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Clive. I have a question which is not really related, but it's more a conceptual question from uh, Masa Hebe Ustad in YouTube. It says how you differentiate between linear and nonlinear data set initially. It's more like a technical question for you. He is not attending interview here. Do you want me to answer that?
You can
I'll
answer that, sir.
it's simple. I mean, there are multiple ways you can do that, right? Linear, nonlinear, you can also plot it. You can find out. Um, okay, I lost my power again. But there are multiple techniques to do it. But usually, what we do, you can even do different variables scatter plot and then find out how they're related, right? But usually we don't really worry much about it in feature engineering. We do transform a bit, like we can use log, we can use exponential function, we can use other standard functions to transform and see if that helps our model to better relate it, right? We do experiment. The whole point of being a data scientist is that we do a hell lot of experimentation with the data. We transform it all the standard ways. We also go a bit non-standard ways, like what you're asking. We apply multiple algorithms. We use multiple hyperparameter tuning. We even create new variables out of the existing one. If there is a subject matter expert, we can ask him if that makes sense. If not, we'll just anyway do it because that's what we do. We try many different things like a trial and error. Honestly, it's like a trial and error, right? There is no, it's more like a research. So it's not like a systematic way to crack a data set or to do a modeling. We do all different things and then find out to converge to a set of techniques which worked for that particular data set, and then a certain algorithm which actually perform better, and then we go further to make it more fine-tuned. That's how we work, right? So we don't really worry about differentiating this data set linear and nonlinear. Maybe a statistical modeling might need it, someone who works in statistics, but for machine learning we do trial and error. We apply all kinds of transformation. To answer particularly to you, we can plot and look at it. Okay, thank you. I do have 3 more questions. Did you apply for this post to LinkedIn or any other place? I think it's from DataMites, isn't it? Placement team. Clive.
Okay, I had I had kept open to work in data in LinkedIn also, but I have not got any calls through LinkedIn. It like the jobs, what I got interviews, whatever they called me, everything through DataMites. So personally, I didn't get called from anywhere where I applied. So it was more of I was not eligible. Like they wanted more prior knowledge, they wanted masters, they were looking for all that. So personally, from my side, it didn't work out anyway. It was all through DataMites for me.
Okay, simple answer. It's through DataMites, not from LinkedIn. Thank you. Luli has a question. What did you learn first? What need to skip learning to be a part? Okay, you're more interested in what can you skip? Okay, because learning home, like I don't know, what you need to learn fundamentals. Okay, essentially the question is what to learn first and what you can actually skip. I mean, what you don't have to really worry about is the question.
Okay,
Of course.
what to skip? I'm not sure about that. What you have to learn? There are what is the first question again? What do I have to
learn first?
Learn first. I would say you have to study Python first, because only through Python you can apply your machine learning algorithms, everything. So get efficient in Python first. Okay. So after that, when it comes to skipping, I'm not sure what you can skip, but what I did was I saw only the when I came there are algorithm, right? Supervised, unsupervised. So I saw mostly what we used linear, logistic. I went to decision tree. Oh, these are the main concepts that I use all overall everywhere. So I went through only those concepts and algorithms which I thought, and in DataMites also, which are most of them were taught. So personally, extra anything I didn't study algorithms in regressions or anything. So I didn't go to study extra, but mainly which are used in the overall basis in usually in companies, projects, which are the famous algorithms. I studied only that.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, Ravi Kumar has a question. How about data science healthcare career? Ravi Kumar, I can answer that. Healthcare is one of the top 3 industry now. There are many pharmaceutical companies hiring data science, doing all kinds of POCs, experiments. Also, there are many live projects. So the scope is really massive. It comes in top 3 industries. Okay, I think that's all the question we have. I don't have anything coming from DataMites. I myself logged into LinkedIn now. So let me see. LinkedIn, I don't have any further questions. Yes, wonderful. Then we conclude. Maybe one last question. A question from anonymous attendee. Okay, the question is for DataMites. They only teach in English or various language. If you can tell me which language, we are trying to get a Hindi version. But to be more frank, having a basic English is required, right? But you can always talk in other languages with the trainers. Trainers are usually versatile. If it is Hindi or Kannada, or if you have a local language, Tamil, Telugu, whatever it is, right? You can talk to the trainer to learn the concepts from a local language. I think they are flexible for that. But usually you need to have at least basic English uh, if you want to join an Indian company. It does may not be applied in China, for example, but in India, a basic English is required. It doesn't need to be fluent because most of the time you're not a business consultant. You are a data scientist. You need to bog your head with the data and come up with great models. Language is not a prime, but it is a basic English is essential. Coming to training, there is no explicit other language training from DataMites, which we are planning actually. As of now, trainers can be flexible to help you a bit. Thank you. Uma Mahesh has a question. Is NLP concepts covered in AI Expert? Yes, Uma. NLP concepts are all covered in detail in AI Expert course. So you could talk to DataMites on that particular segment. But I can confirm because I'm the one who developed the syllabus for it, so I can confirm that. No questions from YouTube, no from everywhere. Thank you again, Cliff, for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you. Motivates me to work more harder. After 20 years of experience, you get a little lazy. You don't have that. But when I work with you guys who are starting the career, I somehow steal your energy. Thank you for that. And thank you everyone on this call. I wish you all the best for all the aspirants. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you.